Alright guys, it is time for me to sit down and talk more to some of my redheaded beauties because makeup can get a little bit sticky whenever it comes to having red hair. So let's just get right into it. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Delana Cherie and I make beauty and lifestyle videos like this one where I talk about products, whether that is for certain redheads like myself or whether it is just for common knowledge, as well as I do wear tests every Tuesday and then I make like these cinematic tutorials that are a lot of fun. We get really creative, it's pretty cool. I'll leave a little example right here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe.
Yeah, something like that. So make sure to hit the little subscribe button so that you can see all of the fun that we have on this channel, and follow me on Instagram because I'm always asking you guys questions and opinions on what to film for my videos, as well as I take you guys shopping with me for new products and you guys get to vote on what I buy, and it is just so much fun. So make sure to follow me on Instagram here. Also, one more thing I'd like to mention is that I am wearing Invisalign, so if I am lisping, that is why. I just started wearing them a few days ago, or yesterday actually, so I'm still getting used to them and talking weird, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Also, if my lipstick smudges because of it, that is why. Normally, my lipstick does not smudge this much. Oh my gosh, by the way, I am wearing the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Liquid Makeup. I'm currently in the middle of filming a wear test right now, and let me just say, so far, so freaking good. Oh my gosh. Go check it out. I'll leave a link right here if you want to see the final review on all my final thoughts on that product. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about how it looks right now. But anyways, let's get into these makeup products. So today I'm going to talk about bronzers, blushes, and highlights. It is high time that I get back into talking about this. This is a series that I started on my channel a while ago. I plan to add a little bit to it here and there so that I could still keep up with content in between because, you know, not everyone's a redhead, but I did still want to help you redheads out, especially if you are new to being a redhead. Okay, so let's start out with bronzers. So most redheads are fair-skinned, at least in that medium to fair-skinned range. I know that some people do have dark skin. They either have naturally some red tones in their hair or they dye their hair red, and that's a totally different story, but obviously I will be speaking to the medium to fair skin redheads that I feel that the majority of redheads fall into. So first I would like to talk about bronzers. So whenever it comes to bronzers, I feel like this is not just a redhead thing, but this is just a fair skin thing. But especially with redheads, we tend to be in the neutral, sometimes pink tones in terms of our undertone. Now that's obviously not always the case. I am actually neutral, leaning a little bit more on the yellow side, but I also have surface redness, so it appears that my skin can look a little bit more pink, but it's actually leaning on the more yellow undertone, which I've only had one person point that out to me other than myself. It was a senior makeup artist at whenever I worked at Sephora. She was like, "You are fair, leaning on the yellow side with surface redness, correct?" And I was like, yes, you're the only person that's ever said that. Oh my gosh, yes, you understand me. Everyone else was like, oh, you have a pink undertone, because I have surface redness. I don't have a pink undertone. Anyways. So one of the first bronzers, and the one that I'm actually wearing right now that I would like to recommend, is the Hoola bronzer from Benefit. This one is obviously a staple in a lot of people's kits, but I think especially for redheads and fair skin, medium to fair skin, this one is really, really great. They even have a Hoola light version, so it's even fairer and it has a little bit less of a yellow undertone. It's a little bit more neutral. That is really good if you're like super like ghost fair, you know what I'm saying? But if you are just kind of in like my shade range or darker, this one is really good because it just kind of has that perfect undertone. It is a little bit yellow sometimes, but for the most part, it's really a perfect balance of that yellow, that red, the brown, you know what I'm saying? Some bronzers can pull like really neutral brown and it just kind of looks muddy, and then some of them pull really red, and then some of them pull like really yellow, and this I feel is just a really good balance. So it's easy to apply because you don't have to worry about like, oh my gosh, if I apply too much, it's gonna get muddy or it's gonna look red or whatever. This one is so so easy. Obviously, I've hit pan on it. I'm using it up very quickly, and I normally just apply it with a little tapered brush like this guy. This is what I apply pretty much all my bronzers with, and I'll just do a little tiny swirl in there or a little tiny tap, and just go right in there and just do little circular motions. Diffuses the color really nicely, super easy to blend, whether you're blending it over powder or foundation, just plain foundation. It performs really, really, really well. So next one, if you like a little bit of shimmer in your bronzer, which sometimes I do, especially if I'm doing like a summer glow kind of makeup look, like I will reach for this a lot in the summer. This is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess. I feel very, very similarly to, well, let me swatch the Hoola one for you really quick. So this is the undertone of the Hoola. Kind of hard to swatch a bronzer because it's supposed to look really, really light and natural, but as you can see, it kind of does have a little bit more of that yellow undertone, but whenever you really blend it in and build it up, it looks really nice, as you can see, because I'm wearing it right now. But anyways, this is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess Amazonian Clay Bronzer, and it just has a very, very light sheen to it. I feel the same way about this one, that it just has like that perfect undertone in the sense that not too brown, not too red, not too yellow. It's just kind of like that really perfect in between. This one pulls a little bit more red than the Hoola one, but it has that gold reflect, so it's just really, really beautiful. They do have a matte version of this as well. I don't personally own it, but you could totally get the matte version of this as well, and it is so good. They have a matte one, and I believe they have one lighter and one darker that are both also matte, so you could totally do that. A couple of bronzer slash contour palettes. You could do the Park Avenue Princess palette from Tarte. You really just want to look for something that's not going to pull too far in one direction. Not too yellow, not too brown, not too red. Just kind of find a perfect balance of tones, because on fair skin, you're gonna see that undertone really, really prominently. And so you just want to make sure that it's something that you can build up a little bit more in the summer, and it's not going to look super red or yellow or patchy, and that whenever you are in your fairer seasons like the winter and stuff like that, that you can just wear it really lightly and it's not gonna look like super heavy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's just kind of what you want to look for. So these kind of undertones, really, really perfect. If you tend to lean a little bit more on the pink side, I would recommend doing a palette like this, because this one will have options. So you'll have that shimmery one that you can mix in to make a little bit warmer, but then you have this really, really nice cool one. And as you can see, I've used the most of these two right here. I used to tap a bunch into this one and then just mix a little bit of this one in it, and it would just make like a really, really nice in-between color. And then this is just kind of like a darker shimmer. You could totally use this on your lid if you feel like you're never gonna use it on your cheeks because it's too dark. Just use it as eyeshadow. I'm literally wearing bronzer as eyeshadow right now. I do that all the time. That's like my everyday routine. Don't stress about like, oh, well, I'm never gonna use that shade, so why should I get the palette, you know? There are other ways to use this shade, so don't even worry about that. It's also a really great shade to have that if you do tan in the summer, you can have this as like a mixing medium to mix into this one and make it darker, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to go just straight into this guy and use it by itself. And then you do have a nice little satin shimmer. That one is actually going to be exactly this guy. And then you have a couple of highlight shades. Both of these are matte highlights. You have one that is a little bit more yellow tone. So this is great if you have a lot of purple underneath your eyes. You could use just a very, very light amount of this. Very, very light, just to kind of set where you're a little bit purple. Or you could just use this as a setting powder underneath the eyes. It's super great. You can use it as a matte eyeshadow across the lid. It's just kind of something that you would use. You can place it in all the areas that you would normally place your highlight. It's just not going to have a shimmer and a sheen. I kind of wish that this one had a sheen to it, but it didn't. But it's still a really, really great palette. Last contour slash bronzer product I'm going to recommend is the Kevyn Aucoin, the Contour Book Volume 2, The Art of Sculpting and Defining. I do have a total tutorial on this guy alone, which I will link right here. It's a pretty old video, so my whole setup is going to be different, but it's a good video. I do a whole tutorial on it. This is a really, really great palette. If you are somebody who just wants a one and done kind of palette, this is going to be your best friend, because this is going to have a cream and powder highlights and contours. And then you have, these are just the perfect tones for a medium to fair skin tone. These are really, really perfect tones just to create a really quick eye look, you could create an evening look if you just dip more into this chocolate brown. But for just throwing on makeup every single day, I mean, this is just a really good palette. Make sure to check out that tutorial because I do my whole face with this guy. It's really, really good. But the reason I wanted to mention this guy is because it does have that cream contour in it. And I really, really, really like the undertone of this cream contour. It's very, very similar to the undertone of the Hoola bronzer. Obviously, I applied way more than you would, but it's super easy to work with as well. You just don't want to be blending this over powder because it's a cream, obviously. And then this is the, oh, I totally just got contour in the highlight, but yeah, this is the Candlelight, the cream. The cream is just gonna be a super, super soft glow. So it's not gonna be like a strobing highlight, kind of like what I have going on right now. It's just gonna be a really, really natural glow, which I love whenever I'm doing a very minimal look. I do really, really like this palette. And then the contour in this is going to be, wow, I got way too much on my finger. This is going to be very gray because it's gonna be more of that true contour rather than a bronzer. If you get very fair in the winter and then very tan in the summer, you probably won't like this guy because it won't look as good whenever you're tan. But whenever you're fair, just a light amount to define and sculpt the cheekbones is really, really nice. That's if you want to do more on like the actual contouring side of things, because contour will have more of a gray undertone, which just means that it does a different thing. It's not going to add as much color to the face. I do overall recommend, if you are in the medium to fair range, doing a bronzer over a straight up contour because it will add more color to the face. Just adds a really, really nice balance of color rather than a gray sculpted contour, you know? But I did want to show a contour just in case you were interested in trying that. Next, let's get into blush because my favorite thing to talk about is highlight. So, and I have plenty of highlighters to show you. I have 4 blushes to recommend here, and 2 of these I use all the freaking time on my channel and my Instagram. Like if you go back and you scroll my Instagram, these are probably the 2 main ones that I talk about. These are the Milani Baked Blushes in the shade Coralina and Dolce Pink. Coralina is gonna be more of your peachy coral undertone, obviously. It's super, super pretty. It's actually the one that I reach for the most. I love it so much, but I love both of these. These are just really, really solid blushes. They have the perfect amount of shimmer in them without being like too over the top. And then the pigment is sheer enough to where it's like not hard to blend, because sometimes if blushes are too overly pigmented, then they get really hard to blend to make them look really, really natural. But with these guys, they're just super, super easy to work with. They last you for freaking ever. I've probably had both of these guys for like 5 or 6 years and I've barely made a dent in them. So this is literally gonna last like your freaking lifetime. This one is the only one that I've made a slight dent in. You can see normally they are like rounded off at the top. I mean, these are gonna last me forever. Like, that was a one-time sale for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, highly, highly recommend those. It's just like the undertones are just so perfect. And again, whenever you are fair skin, obviously it's going to be personal preference, but that medium to fair skin, you really just kind of want to fall in something that's not super, super pink, but something that's not super, super orange, you know? Just find a good balance, maybe something that you can mix together, because sometimes with some eyeshadow looks, you'll want to pull a little bit more coral, and then sometimes with some other like lip colors and stuff like that, you'll want to pull a little bit more pink. So it really also depends on the other products that you're wearing on your face currently, and that's just a rule of thumb. That's why I have Coralina and Dolce Pink, because this one's going to be more my coral, this one's going to be more of my pink, but it's still like a nice soft rosy pink. It's not like a pink, you know what I'm saying? Another one that's really good, this is technically a highlighter and it's also broken. This one makes a really, really nice blush if you are very, very fair and you want a very, very light wash of color. It's barely gonna give you anything, you know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have to like glow for this one, because this one really, I mean, it's supposed to be a highlighter, so it really shines. Obviously I put a pretty heavy amount on my hand here, but if you do just like a light wash, it'll give you a very light rosy color just to give you a nice, like very, very subtle flush and also a very subtle glow if you just do a light amount. If you pack it on, you're gonna be strobing, which I don't personally mind, but if you are somebody who does not like shine, then you'll probably want to stay away from that. I would recommend NARS for anybody who doesn't like shine. They have a lot of really, really good matte blushes. And then this one is also technically a highlighter, but I use it as a blush. And this is the Fenty Beauty Killawatt Foil Mimosa Sunrise and Sangria Sunset shades. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but look at this. I know it looks crazy, but I'm actually wearing it on my face right now, and as you can see, it is not crazy. It looks very natural. All I do is I take a normal, just angled blush brush and I'll just tap right in between. I usually go more for the pink and then I'll mix in a little bit of the orange and I just do little circular motions to buff those two colors together and just really kind of work it into the skin until the colors have mixed really well. And it adds a nice glow to the skin. I just do a light wash because they are very, very pigmented. I'll show you here. This is the Mimosa Sunrise, and then the Sangria Sunset. They're so beautiful together. They really are. Like, I am obsessed with them. But as you can see, like, they're not even as shimmery as this one over here. And so they're not gonna get like super crazy on the cheek. They're still just gonna give you that light wash of color. But do you see like the common theme here, how I have a little bit of coral and a little bit of pink so that I can create that really perfect balance in between the two? That's just really what you want to look for, something that's not pulling too hard in one direction. One last thing I want to mention in terms of blush will be this Trestique. This is the baby blush stick in the shade Bora Bora Coral. Again, I feel it's really that perfect balance of it's not too pink and it's not too coral. I'm actually going to swatch it here. This is easier for me to show you right here. And it is a cream formula. I wanted to give you guys one cream option, but as you blend it in, it will just look really, really soft and natural. Ta-da! As you can see, it just looks like a really, really nice light wash of color. It is gonna be a little bit more on the matte side, so if you do like cream blushes, if you're somebody that sets your face with powder, I would not recommend this, but if you don't wear any powder on your face or you want to try a cream blush, this one is a really, really good one. I would just do like a few stripes on your cheek and then blend it in with the fingers. Okay, lastly, we're gonna talk about highlights. This is my favorite part. I do have several liquid highlighters here and one powder highlight. I like my liquid highlights, okay? They're good. I'll do the powder highlight last. You guys are probably gonna be surprised at the brand and everything, but first liquid highlight I would like to talk about is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Soft Light. This stuff is so good. Whenever I worked at Sephora is whenever they came out with this stuff, and I was obsessed from first use. I mean, it is just so freaking good. I'm gonna clean myself off here so that I can show you guys. Whenever it comes to highlight, I actually do recommend staying in the pink undertone lane. Even for somebody like me who has slightly more yellow undertones, I just feel that the more pink just looks really, it just looks more soft and natural. Of course, do what you feel like fits you really well, but I have found that even with my more yellow undertones, that the soft pinks, first of all, they tend to show up on my skin better than the more gold or yellow toned ones, and then they're just more flattering, especially on top of blushes and stuff like that. I feel like within our skin tone, the medium to lighter skin tones, we are going to just overall, like the golds can pull a little bit too dark on us, and that is totally fine. But this one is the Makeup Forever Soft Light. Super, super pretty. Blends super well even over powder products, like so freaking good. Same with this guy. This is the YSL Touche Eclat. This one smells so freaking good. Oh, smells so good. But yeah, this one's definitely gonna be more pink than the Makeup Forever Soft Light, but still both of them are, oh, they kind of pull the same on camera, but this one definitely looks a little bit more of like a pink champagne in real life, and this one looks more of like a baby pink in real life. Like, they're so pretty, so freaking pretty. Love them so much. And then if you like a little bit more of a glittery highlight and you're looking for something that's maybe a liquid highlighter and is drugstore, this NYX Born to Glow, I mean, girl, you're gonna glow whether you want to or not, because this one has a really, really beautiful shimmery underpigment, but it's definitely more of that glitter. I feel like it almost has a little bit of like a metallic glitter. Do you see that? That's like a strobe. That's like a freaking strobe. You know what I'm saying? It's like, can you see how it's like slightly more glittery as well? It may not translate as much on camera, but yeah, it definitely has a little bit more of that glittery finish. Super pretty, but only if you are somebody who is like really loves to glow. Because somebody came up to me one time at work and they were like, should I get this? You know, I just kind of I wanted a liquid because I just wanted something super soft and subtle. I was like, then no, let me show you something else because this is not gonna be subtle. However, with this guy, even though the other ones I said that you could put them over powders just fine, this one I would not. I tried to blend it over a powder and it felt like a hot mess. Maybe other people have tried and been successful, but for me it was a lot harder to get it nice and even over powder. So basically I would just wear it over like a cream or a liquid foundation. Don't put it over powder. Last one I would like to talk about in terms of liquid is now this one is for you girls who are like, I really want to try something that does have a gold reflect to it. This one is great because it's really hard to find something that has a gold reflect and is light enough. So this one is exactly that. This is the Jeffree Star Frostbite, and it does have a little bit of that gold reflect, but it's still very pale. So it's still gonna give you that highlight. You can't really see the gold reflect on camera as much, but it does have a really nice, slightly gold yellowy reflect. And it's really nice because sometimes that yellow can actually make it look too dark. And then whenever you see it straight on, it just looks like you have a little bit of like a dark spot on your cheek rather than a highlight. When you're facing the light, it's fine. But then, yeah, sometimes those golds and the yellows can do that, but this one does not do that at all. As you can see from the side, nothing, and then head on, it just catches the light really nicely. It is going to be a little bit more of like the NYX one where it has that sparkle to it, so it's gonna be like it's a full-on highlight. It's not subtle. This one does go on well over powder. I just recommend using a wet sponge to apply it over powder, and you shouldn't have any problems. A wet sponge or your fingers, and work fast. And then lastly, and the only powder highlight I'm going to talk about because it is the most perfect and it works for so many skin tones, so many undertones. I'm absolutely obsessed with this, and you guys are going to be the most excited about this one because it is the e.l.f. Moonlight Pearls. As you can see, it is well loved. The cap is actually broken. I'm holding it together on my own, but oh my gosh, I am actually wearing it right now. I usually just smile and I'll bring a little bit onto my cheeks and then bring it back all the way on the tops of my cheekbones and inner corners of my eyes, Cupid's bow nose, and chin. Oh my gosh, I wear this one every single freaking day. Every single freaking day. Oh my gosh, I love this one. I'm gonna swatch it for you guys. So this one is very interesting because whenever you first get it, there's like a weird film over it. Like nothing comes off whenever you first get it, but once you break that film and you really get into the actual powder, it is so freaking beautiful. See it? Oh, it's hard to find champagnes that, again, like the gold pigments that are light enough to actually work on fair skin tones, and this one is just, oh, look at it. It's so freaking pretty. I am so obsessed with it. Highly recommend this guy. It's only like $4, I think, so there's really no excuse to not just get it. I think I ordered mine online, but I also saw one at Target the other day, so I think you can get it there as well. Let me know if you have any further questions down in the comments below. I'm sure that there are points that I've missed and you may have some lingering questions in your head, so please feel free to ask them. I always respond to every single comment. While you're at it, make sure to check out the first video that I did where I talk about eyeshadows and brows for redheads. I will link that right here, and then hit the little subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Let's start a party in the comments, you know? Let's just do it. Did you hear that lisp on that one? That was a good one.